Hey guys, and welcome to Grooves of Motivation Live. I am Jermaine Morgan. I appreciate you for joining me today. We're talking about a subject. Time is ticking. Time is ticking. So stay tuned. All right. So I was having some technical difficulties this morning trying to get sound. It was the craziest thing. Like, what in the world is going on? But that good old technology, if you do one little thing different, it'll send you down in flames and you won't be able to figure out what it is. Nonetheless, good morning to everybody. I appreciate you for chiming in or whatever time it is for you around the world. And by the way, let me know in the comments where you're watching. I always love seeing that. And it helps people to find this video. When you guys interact in that comment section, it lets YouTube know that people are watching this video, so they try to recommend it out for more and more people. So be sure to let me know in those comments where you watch from. There it is. Sean, good morning to you. Zion, Illinois is in the building. I appreciate you guys again. So I had this little thing I was playing around with, and we'll jump right into it. While you guys are chiming in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. I was playing around with this idea this morning. I was practicing yesterday, and I had this little loop idea. So I decided to record it and throw it down real quick to just play around with it. So, yeah. Floppy, what's up, man? I know that's not your real name now. Good morning to you. Just a simple chord progression. It's moving, but it's simple at the same time. Montreal in the building. What's up, Pete? Hawaii in the building. That's refreshing. I don't think I've had nobody from Hawaii I can remember. Or maybe you had just hadn't commented thus far, but thank you. Perry, Georgia in the building. What's up, Canny? All right. Arwan, I might have saw your name before. I guess I might have missed the fact that you were from Hawaii. Forgive me if I missed it. I can't remember everybody, but I do appreciate you being here. So let's play around with this thing and see if we can come up with anything over these chord Belize. Morning to you, Mario. Jake, what's up, man? That kind of altar music. Sean says, feeling the groove of this music. Are you going to record it? I don't know, Sean. A lot of my music I try out with y'all. I've learned to try this music out with y'all over years. And y'all feeling it. You probably hear it on the record. You just don't recognize the title. But so I am trying this music out real time with y'all a lot of times to see how y'all like it. There's several ones that's going on the record that y'all already heard, but you'll hear it like fully produced. Right now this is just a rough just to see how I like it, how you guys like it. ultimately, if I really like it, that's really the big teller. Because if y'all can like it or hate it, at the end of the day, I'm gonna still put it out if I like it. else we got? You know what they say. Down south. If it don't sound good, we don't play long. If I don't be good, I won't be long. Andre, good morning to you, man. It's Taco Tuesday. And I don't know the last time I've had tacos. I know I'm totally off subject right now. Hopefully you guys are enjoying that groove. But yeah, Sean, I don't know, man. You might hear it on the record. Don't be shocked if you hear it on the record. I don't believe in wasting good ideas. Part of what I'm going to be talking about today, I don't believe in wasting good ideas. So it's a great possibility you're going to hear this on the record. I just got to find a B section for it. But I'm sure I'll come up with one. So yeah, just that little thing right there alone, that's a whole vamp. You know me. Yeah, I can stay on those little sections, those turnarounds like that all day long. So let me get off of that. Anyway, thank y'all for joining in today. I'm going to try to not be long with this. So I had this quick thing that I want to share. Time is ticking. Time is ticking. And I hope there's a lot of young musicians listening today. So if you know a young musician, send this to them, because I really, and it's not, this little talk today is not only just for young musicians or young people in general, but it's for people of all ages. But I'm really, like I said, musicians and creatives and people who just kind of sitting thinking that we have more time than what we have. I remember hearing something just this past week about, we hearing bad news all the time, social media and news and all that kind of stuff. I don't really watch the news, so I heard on social media about some stuff, and one of the things that stood out to me about somebody having a stroke or alleged somebody having a stroke, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, not to mention the countless people who are my age or that are going through things, or younger than me that are going through things, or people that's checked out of here like in their 30s and their 20s. Even somebody I know that checked out of here at 18 years old. Like, the church I used to be a part of a long time ago, a church I played for, a young cat that used to help me out a lot. And come to find out that he died, like, I want to say at the age of 18, just heart failure or something like that. And the dude wasn't even like overweight or anything like that. So it was just, man, I'm like, you just don't know how much time you have. And I don't really think people, when I say young people for this particular live, I don't really think we really consider how much time we have. Like I said on the cover of this thing, what if you don't have that much time? What if you don't have that much time? And I really hope to press up on somebody today, like, you got to get on it. Like, man, I really hope. There's a good friend of mine who I talk to a good bit, and he typically tells me stuff like, man, when we get off the phone, I feel like I'll leave the conversation in a sling or something like that. And I said, well, since you're in a sling, let me go ahead and put you on a little buggy for your legs. So in that, I'm always trying to talk to him and push him in things that, I'm doing this, not trying to tell him how to live his life, but encouraging him to push and go for whatever that thing you said you were going to do. Like, you gave your word that you were going to do this, or you were going to do that, or, hey, I want to do this, I would like to do that. And it's like, I'm the type of person, if you're in my circle, then I'm going to call you out on the rug as far as accountability is concerned. Like, hey, you said you was going to do X, Y, Z. Like, where we at with that? Not trying to make somebody feel bad, but it's just an accountability thing that I do, because I expect that same thing with me. If I give my word that something is going to happen, it's like, all right, Jay, you said you was going to do X, Y, Z. Where we at? Where we at with it? How much of it do you have done already? So, Candy, I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. In 2019, that's I'm really sorry to hear that. And I can only imagine as a father. I think my daughter's 11 years old now, so yeah, I can only imagine just that feeling, just being a father of that. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But my point is, with all of this, we don't know how much time we have. So oftentimes we can play around with just thinking, you can get in your circles of the people you normally hang around and hang out with, all that kind of stuff. And you start to think, oh man, I got plenty of time to get this done. I can do this, or I can do that. I can goof off, have all the fun. And I've done it. I've done it in my 20s, and in my teens, like most of all of us have. But you don't really realize how limited that time is. And then we're quickly reminded when someone close to us passes away, especially somebody near our age. But what happens is we're reminded of how short, how precious life is, how precious time is. But then life gets to happening again and we forget. And so those things that were like, pertinent, for lack of better words, like, I got to get this done. Now we don't do it. It's like, yeah, man, I got to get on this. I got to do that. And then some happens and we forget, and we go back into this old slump of what we've been used to. And once again, stuff don't get done. So it's like, what can we do for that? One of the verses, I wrote down a few notes for this because there are some things I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to share. But there's a verse that I thought about in Psalm 90. If you guys want to write this down, it says, Psalm 90:12, teach us to number our days so that we have a heart of wisdom, so that we may get a heart of wisdom. And in my opinion, like, concerning that, why I wanted to bring it up, I'll put it this way. It's like, when you know the amount of time you have, you're very aware of what you want to do at that time. It's like, if you know something is coming on a specific date, just say you order something big off of Amazon, right? And this thing, you didn't spend over $2,000-$3,000 for it. Well, if UPS or FedEx, whoever's delivering this thing, if they say, hey, it's going to deliver on Friday at 2:00, then I don't care what you got going on. You're going to make arrangements to make sure that somebody is at your house to pick this thing up at 2 o'clock on Friday because you probably don't want it sitting out on the doorstep. You don't want it sitting where anybody can see it, where anybody can take it away from you. And this is like a $2,000 thing. How much is your life worth? How much is your life worth? Because we have these times, like, most of us don't even set a schedule for the certain things we want to do. We'll talk to people or we'll allow people to rob our time. Now, some of this communication is good because it moves us forward. But some conversations we have, after you get off the phone or after you leave that person, you can't even remember what you talked to them about. And you done spent an hour, 2 hours out there sitting talking to somebody. I remember as a kid, me and my brother would kind of crack up laughing because, we would hang around with the older guys, my uncle and some of the other guys in the neighborhood. We would be, when they would be doing work and that kind of thing, we'd just be hanging out with them. We boys, we trying to hang out with the big dudes. So, but it would be times that I remember we'd be sitting out there talking and they'd be just leaning up. This is a Southern thing. So maybe if you're from any other place in the world, you might not know anything about this, but it's like they'll just sit out there talking and be leaning up against the back of a truck. And, they'll be having a conversation. And for about 5 to 10 minutes, it'll go completely silent. Nobody saying anything. Them cats just looking around and just staring into space. And it's like, we'd be looking like, what just happened? And it's the weirdest thing. And I get it. Sometimes it's a pause because there's nothing to be said there. And I understand that sometimes you just need to be quiet. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But at the same time, how much time are we wasting right now? What could we be getting done that we're not getting done? Okay, it's my off day. What could I be doing to move the needle forward for my future instead of just sitting here wasting time talking to somebody about absolutely nothing that is going to move the needle forward in my direction? So we're just standing here. We're just looking. You're not obligated to stay there. You're not on the clock. You don't have anything that you have to do concerning these people. So the question I would have is, okay, why are we still here? Why are we still sitting here? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, we're just wasting time. So with that being said, how much time are you wasting? That's why it says, so teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom. If I know I only have 10 days left, ain't no way I'm finna sit here and give you 2 hours of my time talking about absolutely nothing. I'm just being real. So the fact of the matter is, you don't know if you got 10 days left. I know that's scary for some people, but it should be a reality and a wake-up call for a lot of folks. For you, like you don't even know if you got 10 days left. I recently had a family member of mine, and my heart and condolences go out to some of you guys who've been experiencing these storms in early April and all that kind of stuff. I know in Mississippi, I had some family that were extremely affected by those storms, devastated. Some was even devastated by the storms, lost their entire house. Some people lost their lives. And the funny thing is, like, some of these folks had plans. They had plans for the following day. I mean, we don't even have to go as far off their 5-year plan, their 3-month plan. They're like, these people had plans for the next day. Like, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Okay, I'll get this done tomorrow. And it's like the scripture and the saying, tomorrow ain't promised. Like, it's not promised to you. So when you learn to number your days, and it's like you're being very aware of the time that you have available to you right now, you're keenly aware of, like, I don't have tomorrow guaranteed for me. So there are some things I need to go ahead and get done today. Granted, everything you can't get done today. There are some things that, you need to plan for. What is the scripture say? Man makes the plan in his heart, but it's God's plan in the end that will prevail. It's like, it's what God wants. God's will at the end of the day is going to be the thing that prevails. You might make a plan, but at the end of the day, you don't get to control it. But making a plan and having a plan, you're going to be 10 times better off than the person who doesn't have a plan and they're just kind of wandering aimlessly through life without a plan, without anything. Because when you don't have a destination, any place you land up is cool. When you don't have a way that you're going, you don't have an idea of what it looks like, an idea of where you're headed. It's like you just get on the bus And like, hey, all right, man, I know people don't really be taking the bus like that around here. But you know, you get on a train, a bus, anyway. It's like, and you just sit down and you just ride it until it stops. And that's what a lot of us are doing in life. We're just getting on the bus and you just riding until the bus driver get off and be like, all right, I'm stopping here. We done stopped at all these other stops and you didn't get off. So what we doing? Because at some point his shift is going to end. And what you don't realize is at some point your shift is going to end. If you're listening to me here now and you don't have a plan and you don't have something that you're going after, it's like, man, you're really kind of cutting it close. Because reminding you of the title of this, what if you don't have that much time? What if you don't have that much time? Again, going back to the people who were affected in these storms and some of these people who lost their life, or even somebody you might have known who were murdered or in a car accident. Somebody left to go to work this morning. Somebody left to take their child to school this morning, and they won't be making it back home. Prayerfully, there's none of you guys' loved ones, but it's a reality for somebody. And I don't come on here to try to scare anybody or try to make anybody feel bad or any of that stuff like that. But I do want to put some on your mind, because we don't have the amount of time that we think we have. And you're going to be, there's a verse that talks about we're being held accountable for the stuff that we do with our time, whether it be good or bad. You got to answer. You got to answer for what you did with your time. You got to answer for what you did in this body, in this life. It's in 2 Corinthians 5:10. If anybody want to write that down, but you got to answer for what you did with your time. What did you do here? Like, what did you do with the time that you had allotted to you? Because it's like, it's so important. Me looking at my life now that I'm fresh in my 40s, like me looking at it now and looking back over my years, of course, I will go back as I feel anybody would do as you get to each milestone in your life. Like, man, you get to your 20s and you look back at your teen years and like, man, I would have done some stuff different in my teen years if I had known. And then you get to your 30s and it's like, man, I would have done some things different in my 20s if I had known this. Now at 40, looking back over these years, it's like, yeah, I would have definitely done some stuff differently had I known this. And some of you guys are much older than me. But looking at these years, that's why I'm saying I hope some young people are watching this, because time is an illusion for a lot of us. We think that we have so much time. Like, man, I'll just do this. I'll get serious about, like, I was gonna, and I know I'm sidetracking right quick or going down a rabbit hole real quick, but I was gonna call this live something completely different because it was something I was dealing with last night, something I was thinking about, and I was like, you know what? We gotta choose a side. And again, I'm veering off for a second, but bear with me. We have to choose a side, especially you young musicians. You have to choose a side. When I came down here to Atlanta, and let me preface this by saying I am nowhere near close to perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So I hope you who are listening don't take what I'm saying as like, me looking down on somebody or trying to condemn somebody or this, that, and the other, or condescending, for lack of better words. I'm not trying to be condescending when I say what I say, but I've watched many musicians who, like, were my music peers, start out one way. And for my believers here, I'm going to be really specific in what I mean by starting one way. You know, Jesus this, Jesus that. And it's like, I'm sold out. I'm a Jesus freak, all this stuff. And then I watch the progression as they go up higher and higher in their career. Like, we're all here in Atlanta, you know, all of us having big things happen in our lives. You know, one person is going this way, another person is going that way. And it's like, you know, opportunity after opportunity, because most people, you know, around that time that came around, or who were coming up, I'll say that, who were coming up at the same time I was, you know, we're all grinding. We're all out here putting in work. We're trying to get better with our craft, and we're trying to come up the ladder, so to speak, as a musician, as a professional. But I've seen so many people who started one way and now they're somewhere else. And I the social media thing, this hashtag thing, and there's no shade towards anybody. I am making a point though. I see this, thank you, Lord, for my gift. And I see that hashtag a lot, which that's great that you're giving God credit for your gift. But make sure that your good works are not being evil spoken of. Some of us have found ourselves in positions as professional musicians. Like, I get it. I'm a music professional, so there's some gigs that I've had to do to put food on the table because I'm a musician. Just like a person who's a truck driver, they don't drink, but Budweiser was the one that's hiring, so they took the job. And they do their job to the best of their ability. They're not out here drinking, but this is a job, and this is the thing that came open for them. So they took the job and they're doing the work. Oftentimes, as musicians, we get looked down upon because of the job that we're doing. It was like, well, you shouldn't do this. Well, like, I can't depend on that. And this is what I do. I'm a full-time musician. Well, you need to get a real job. Well, I went to school. I did this, or I put my life into studying this thing. This is a real job for me. Just because you don't understand what it is we do as musicians, that doesn't mean it's not a real job, because you're not used to a musician doing certain things or being in certain environments and all these types of things. You can be a person on the outside looking in like, man, look at him, shame on him. Like, well, is your job that you do not a secular environment that you're operating in? I digress. My point, though, here's the thing, because I know that I've seen that argument come back and forth. Should musicians be playing outside of the church? Should musicians be doing secular gigs? My point is, hey, that's you. Let every man work out his own salvation with fear and trembling. Like, that's you. You got to stand before God because of the decisions you made. Going back to that 2 Corinthians 5:10, for we all must appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. Now, that's left to your discretion, to the conviction that's for you. I can't tell you what's right, what's wrong in terms of the gig that you're taking or whatever. But the point that I'm trying to make here, if I ever can get to it, I have to give all this context for what I'm saying, because I know I got a diverse group of people who are watching me. If you're going to operate in a secular setting, and for most musicians, we have to, if that's all we do as musicians, because oftentimes, unless you get a really, really good church gig, oftentimes it's not covering enough. And with the cost of everything going up nowadays, like, you find yourself in some situations that you would rather not be in, but because of your profession, you got to work. I get it. I understand it. I identify with it because I am a musician professionally. But if you're going to be in those places, don't put a lampshade on your light. Don't hide your lamp under a basket, right? We are called to go out into the world. We are called to do certain things. Your unique calling might be in a secular place that most Christians or most believers wouldn't dare be seen in. But when you are getting in those environments, how are you showing up? Is there something about you that's different? Okay, you're going here for work. I get it. We ain't arguing. But what in that environment, are you still a light? Can we find any trace of a light in that environment outside of you posting, "Thank you, God, for my gift"? Can we see God present in your gift? Can we see the presence? Can we experience? Is there anything? And this ain't just for people out in the secular world. And let me swing back around to this, because there are a lot of church cats, a lot of church musicians who don't represent anything godly. And you at church. I mean, you ain't out here in the streets playing, so to speak. You're in the church, and I can't see no light. If they cut them lights off in the church, nothing is shining on the stage. Y'all can stop me when I'm not telling the truth. They cut those lights off, obviously figuratively speaking. They cut these lights off, and there is no light shining from you. There's nothing godly about you. Now, again, everybody has to work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. So I ain't here to judge or to try to tell you this or try to tell you. I ain't here to try to make you do anything, but I do want you to think about the decisions that you are making as it all relates to your time. Because while you're trying to fit in with people or trying to fit into a clique, because maybe for us musicians, I know it can be cliquish in different cities and different locations, area codes, all this type of stuff, or zip codes rather. It's like the status quo means you got to do this You got to do that to fit in. You got to be a part of this group. And everybody on this particular gig, they all drinking, and you don't drink. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna compromise what your standards are to make sure that you don't look like a lame in front of the people who are doing the things that you don't do that compromise your integrity? Now, this is their life, and they're okay with this. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Maybe to you, like, or maybe to them, drinking is not a sin. It's not this, and that. Okay, that's cool. But what is your personal conviction? So I think we have to get back to the point where we draw the line. Like, this is my personal conviction. This is maybe you don't do that, and that's cool for you. Like for me, I stopped eating pork. And don't get me wrong, I'm not Muslim and any of that stuff. I came from a family, like, we ate every part of the hog. Like, my family raised hogs. So, you know what I'm saying? I got down on the pork for a strong 20 years, 21 years, matter of fact. I got down with it. Like, that was, I was no stranger to it. But at some point, I made the decision, my own decision. My mom was still cooking pork, and I'm not condemning my mom. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. But for me personally, I made a decision that, okay, I'm done with it. I'm not eating it no more. Based on my own stuff and my own convictions, my own personal convictions, I said I'm done with it. Now, is pork wrong? No. Eat what you eat. But for me, I made that decision. 4 years later, I found out that I had high cholesterol, issues with cholesterol, and I had no idea. I'm like as small as I am now. Well, smaller. I was way smaller than I am now. So I was probably like, at that time, I was probably a good solid 30, 40 pounds lighter. I found out like at the age of 25 that I was suffering from high cholesterol, all this stuff. And I thought about it, and they had prescribed Lipitor for me. And I'm like, I looked at the medicine. I did my research about the medicine. I said, wait a minute. Nah, we ain't doing this. And I'm like, there got to be another way. And so anyway, I started making some life, but I had came off the pork before that. But just imagine if I had just been like, when I ate pork, like I got in, like it wasn't no moderate, nothing. Like I was going for blood. My mom can cook, so she was throwing down with the pork chops, all of, the whole nine. So it wasn't no like, well, it's all about moderation. I don't care nothing about no moderation. My eating habits was trash. So I was going in. So I just think about, again, if I hadn't made that decision then, or just listened to what was being told to me in my heart, if I hadn't made the adjustment then, where would I have been at 25, eating the same way I had been eating, just killing it, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just killing it? Where would I have been? And even now, where would I be if I didn't make that decision? Now, my decision wasn't popular. Even to this day, I feel like an eyeball in a lot of circles, because it's like I'm like in our culture, a lot of times you can have that thing like, oh, he must be this, or he must be that, he must be bougie, he must, like, nah, I just don't eat it. That's just all it is. Like, that's just my decision. But what I've learned to do with one little decision after next, I've learned to stick to my guns when it comes to my decision, even if it ain't popular. Peer pressure, I think a lot that helped me concerning peer pressure was the fact that, I had this accident with my leg. Many of you don't know this, but I experienced a lawnmower accident when I was 6 years old. That lawnmower took off my left heel. And so I wear a brace and have for pretty much majority of my entire life. So if you met me in person and I look like I got something going on with my left leg, that's why I had a lawnmower accident when I was 6 years old. Whole bunch of reconstructive surgeries, all this kind of stuff. So my life has been different from the gate. So I've been used to being an oddball and not fitting in. So when I make an extreme decision, it kind of makes it for me a little bit more, I ain't gonna say easy, but I'm kind of used to it. I'm kind of used to making the non-popular decision, because it ain't like I've always fit in anyway. So if I gotta be on the outskirts of everybody else because of a standard that I have, because of the integrity that I have, because of the accountability that I'm going to have, then it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, it didn't say in this verse let me find my verse again. It didn't say in this verse that we all gonna appear hand in hand together, and we gonna get judged based on what the other person done and how you acted according to that other person. It didn't say nothing about that. It says you're gonna receive what is due for what you have done in the body, whether good or evil, whether good or evil. So that lets me know, nah, you're gonna be by yourself. You're standing alone. So if I'm gonna stand alone in my judgment, and some of you might choose not to believe that, and you'll find out once it's all said and done. I'm not here to make you or sway you one way or the other. Hopefully you'll understand what I'm saying, and hopefully you'll take heed to what I'm saying. But it's something that you got to really look at that thing and see, like, is this decision that I'm making because the rest of the crowd is doing it? Is this going to be the thing that serves me the best in the long run? If I look 10 years down the road with this one decision that I'm making, where's it going to land me? So if I take one drink tonight because all my friends are doing it, all right, cool, bet. What's your family history as it concerns drinking? I'll wait. Well, man, my family been good. Okay. Any alcoholics in your family? Nah, my family, that's great for you. Do you have a problem getting rid of habits? I'm normally pretty good about, okay, all right. Well, let's just make sure that this thing that you're kind of indulging in doesn't become a habit for you. Because one thing I've learned about things that are not good for us, oftentimes that line gets blurred as to how far we're going with that thing. It's like you go to the store and you buy a pack of Oreos, Doritos. You name your thing. How often is it you go in that bag and you grab one cookie, you eat it, seal that bag off, or you throw that bag away? You don't eat no more cookies. Like, I'm just being honest. But if you were to check in terms of health wise, how good is this cookie for you? I ain't the big health cat. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, my wife is very health conscious, and I think I'm a lot more health conscious because of my wife. But I'm like, I ain't the trainer, dude. So like, I'm still working on me concerning my health. But I'm still disciplined in the sense that I am working out. I am doing what I'm supposed to do. I am watching what I eat. I don't go overboard. So there is some level of maturity and discipline there. So I can't say that. But how often is it you get that pack of cookies, you eat one, and then you throw the whole thing away? And you do that all the time? Probably very low. I ain't even got to wait for you to answer. The chances of that happening for most people is probably very low. So if you know you lack discipline in that area, or if you lack discipline altogether, why would you add something else that has the potential to take you down? Why would you add that to your plate if you're already struggling in the area of discipline? The way I look at it, if I'm already struggling in an area of discipline, I don't need nothing else to hurt me. If I'm struggling financially, I don't need nothing else to add to that financial struggle. So when it comes to your life, when it comes to your time, when it comes to the way you're handling things, if you're not doing such a great job, why would you get something else that's going to pull you further down from your intended goal? That's all I'm saying. Why would you get something else that's going to pull you down? All right, so jumping to this point, I think I've kind of laid out the foundation for that. So I wanted to make a few observations to you guys. So I normally have somebody to put it in the chat. Let me see if I can copy and put this in the chat for you guys. So my first point is this right here. You want to identify your area of influence. If it's some typos in here, y'all forgive me. I'm gonna put this on the screen so you guys can have it. I'm gonna put this on the screen really quick. So first things first, identify your area of influence. What are you naturally drawn to? What are people always asking you about? What naturally concerns or annoys you that doesn't seem to annoy anyone else? In terms of moving out of this whole thing of being stagnant, not doing anything with the stuff you have, because I don't want to just come on here and present y'all a whole bunch of problems and tell you everything you're doing wrong without giving you some type of solution to move forward. So identify your area of influence. What is it that you do What are you naturally drawn to? Like something that you naturally do. Music for me, I've gave this many times. I gave this scenario. I said a lot of times I would call people when I had like a lick or something like that. When I would learn something, I had this natural knack for wanting to show somebody or tell somebody about what I learned. Even to this day, you know, it's hard for me to do something and not want to share it with somebody. Like, hey, check this out. This is like, if it's good, I naturally want to share it. So for me, sharing is a natural thing that I have. Like, I can't cut it off sometimes. Like, you want to share this stuff, especially if it's a good idea, if it's a good video, something like that. So I naturally share good information. And so that can be in the form of teaching, that can be in the form of playing something, that can be in the form of doing what I'm doing now, talking and getting this information out, or, you know, whatever it looks like for you. So write that down. If you can still see this on the screen. And so the number 2 thing that I was going to say is get over yourself. And let me put this on the screen right fast. All right, so put this in the chat. I'm sorry, guys. Multitasking here. It's not letting me put it. Not letting me put it in the chat. I don't know why it's not letting me copy and paste that. So let's see here. Let's copy it. But if it don't let me paste it to this chat, I'm just going to keep it moving. All right, let's see if it'll do it now. It is not letting me post it. All right, so anyway, here we go. Sean says, very low. Don't allow yourself to be put in situations. Okay. Okay, I think I see what you're saying, Sean. But all right. So this next one is, for some reason, it's not letting me put it on the screen. So I'll just read it to you. Get over yourself. Get over yourself and your fear. Oftentimes, your area of influence is surrounded by fear of failure. Oftentimes, I'll say that again. Oftentimes, your area of influence is surrounded by fear of failure. I don't know enough. Does this sound familiar to anybody? I don't know enough. I'm not good enough. And why would people listen to me, learn from me, or buy from me? So I'll just tell you straight out. You got to get over that. You got to get over that. So that whole fear of failure and that fear, just to get over yourself. I heard Kobe Bryant in an interview that I was looking up a whole bunch of Kobe Bryant videos like after his death, because that was like in everybody's feed. So it kept popping up in my stuff. So I naturally went and watched more videos. And I saw this video about him, and somebody asked him about, some of you guys might have heard him say this. Somebody asked him about a game or something that he lost, and how does he recover after losing such a major game, and what about people, what people are going to think about you, and this, that, and the other. How do you deal with all the pressure that comes with you, like being who you are? And he said, get over yourself. Get over yourself. You're not that important. You are, but you're not. Like, get over yourself thinking that people have you that much on their mind. Most people don't. You thinking that people thinking this much about you, and they're not. You're not that much on folks' mind when they walk away from you or you go out of their presence. It's like, you're really not that much on folks' mind. And don't take that for the negative thing. Like, man, ain't nobody thinking about me. Like, no, just free yourself of thinking that everybody's always concerned about you. Get over yourself. You're not that important. Not to them. Now, what you have going on is important, and it's your responsibility to make sure to do what you've been tasked here to do. But don't concern yourself with what everybody else thinks. If I concern myself with what everybody else thinks, I would not have be putting out, I know that's terrible grammar, but I would not be putting out the hymns and spiritual songs and all these courses that I've been putting out, worrying about what people, especially my peers, think about me putting this stuff out. Like, bro, why would you do that? Everybody know how to play this stuff. But that's your opinion. That's what you think. And so now, after selling many of these instructionals and helping a whole bunch of people, your opinion, like, I'm good. I'm good on your opinion. And it's not so much and like even concerning myself with, well, I'm not, These videos I've been posting of me playing these songs, it's like I'm not going for blood. I'm playing a little bit, but I'm not going crazy with just playing all kind of licks. I'm just simply playing the songs. And the average person that's my peer was like, bro, that ain't like, you got to be coming with it when you post something, because that's the only way people are going to see it. Only way it's going to be popular. If you're going for it, playing 1,000 licks, I'm over that. Like, okay, if I'm playing a solo and I'm just having fun, I'll post that. But for the sake of what I'm trying to show, what I'm trying to showcase in these videos, I'm trying to showcase to people, I can show you how to play these hymns. And not only how to play these hymns and congregational songs, I can show you how to sound good while you play them. Now, I'm not trying to show you how to shed over these songs. That's not my intention with these courses that I'm creating. If you want that, go to the riffs and licks. I'm going to show you how to play licks and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to learn how to play this gospel stuff, I'm going to show you how to do it, how to be tasteful. And as far as my peers' opinion of if I'm playing enough or if I'm not playing enough, that's your problem, not mine. So you got to get over yourself, and you got to get over this fear of other people. All right. And so I'll read it one more time for you guys who might not have gotten it. Get over yourself and your fear. Oftentimes, your area of influence is surrounded by fear of failure. I don't know enough. I'm not good enough. And why would people listen to, learn from, or buy from me? Get rid of all that stuff. It doesn't do anything for you. Last but not least, put it out anyway. This is going to help somebody. Put it out anyway. The whole thing that you're second guessing. Let's see if it let me put anything in the chat this time. Nope. I don't know why it keeps, Sean, I don't know why it keeps doing it every time I try to post something up there. They keep posting your comment. Oh, well. Put it out anyway. I'll read it. So get the thing, the product, or the idea out. Use social media or YouTube as a testing site to see how you need to adjust what you're doing. You are guaranteed to fail at what you want to attempt. I mean, I don't know what else to say to that. Get it out. Put the idea out. Put the idea out anyway. Well, I don't know if people want to hear this. Well, there's so many people doing this already, and it's like that's like some of the worst stuff that you can say. When you automatically assume that because so many people are doing it, and I'm gonna change this battery on this camera because it's about to go out. But meanwhile, here we go. All right. You automatically assume because a lot of people are in your space doing a thing that you may do, you automatically assume that nobody is going to want what you do or what you have to offer, or, your thing, your take on it. Man, ain't nobody going to want to see it because such and such is already doing it and he's killing the game. Now, be honest. Show of hands in the comment section. Show of hands if you said that concerning something that you wanted to do. Show of hands, and that could be a thumbs up, that could be a hand emoji, but a show of hands, or you could just simply like the video. If you've said that, like, man, I wanted to do this, but so and so is doing it. And it might not be anything to do with online. It might be a business or a cooking service or something like that. Like, man, well, we already got this or we already got that. But is it something that you're passionate about? I've learned, and I say this passionately because I'm serious about this thing. I've learned that what everybody else got going on ain't got nothing to do with you. It don't have anything to do with you. What everybody else has going on, it don't have anything to do with you. Like, you might have 100 other people on YouTube, like myself, who are doing bass lessons or something similar. Like, come on, man, that ain't got nothing to do with you. Like, what everybody, wash hands, I see you, Sean. Like, what everybody else is doing or what everybody else has going on, it has absolutely nothing to do with you, your assignment, what you've been called to do. Like the first thing I said, when we go back to the first thing I mentioned, what was it? Identify your area of influence. Well, what if your area of influence looked like somebody else's area of influence? So, I mean, how many people are making a chicken sandwich in fast food? How many people are making the burger in fast food or in just restaurants? So every other restaurant said, well, man, we're not going to do the burger because McDonald's or Five Guys or, Burger King or Wendy's or whoever, they're all doing a burger. Yeah, they're all doing a burger, but they all got their spin on the burger. That's the thing, man. You got your own spin on what you do. And I could spend a lot of time talking about this, but I'm not because I'm over time. So I'm going to bring it to a close right there. But what I wanted to share with you guys, for you who are interested in knowing, I teach this stuff. Part of what I'm talking about today and part of what I've been sharing today, I did a coaching program, and where I'm showing people how to do this stuff that I'm talking about. The coaching program is called Music, Money, and Coaching. And the price has went up, by the way, of this. When I first announced it, when I first talked about doing it, and I first put it out, the price has changed. It was on sale then, and it's still on sale now, but the price has changed because I understand the value of, I understand the value of taking what you do seriously. I understand the value of it, and I can't stress the importance of it enough in taking what you do seriously and you being able to, all the things that we talked about in the 3 points that I made in terms of getting it out there. Because at the end of the day, you don't know how much time you have. You don't know. You don't get to decide how much time you have. So I'm putting this on the screen now, putting this link on the screen. And also, I put it in the chat where you guys can go click on that link and you can learn more. And I teach this stuff. I've been doing this for several years. And once I kind of realized how much time I was wasting and I realized that I had something valuable to share, I'm happy to report, yes, I have, set up a way, like all those gigs and things that I was talking about as us as musicians and us as creatives, what we're doing with these gigs and taking gigs. Well, when you want to get to the point that you don't have to say yes to all the stuff you want to do, that means you're going to have to create a solution. You have a problem. One thing I learned, I listened to Myron Golden, and I heard him say this. He said, for every solution that's created, there's 10 more problems that need to be solved. So even if somebody came up with your idea and put it out, he used, for example, he said something about, just say the iPhone. I got an old iPhone. I got like an iPhone 8, but I'm good. But like when a new iPhone is created, for everything that's created, there's 10 other problems that's created for this solution that's been created. So that means there's 10 other ways you can win from somebody else's creation. So if somebody like Steve Jobs and them created the iPhone, well, somebody else got to create a case for it, because you're going to drop this phone, you might crack it. Somebody got to create a screen protector, the OtterBox, whatever. The OtterBox became a thing because of the phone that was created. They didn't have to create the phone. They just created something that was a solution to the phone that was created. And also, like, what about hearing it? You don't want to be doing this all the time. So they're making laws. You can't have your phone up in your hand, or they made laws. You can't have your phone. You got to have a hands-free device. So somebody had to create the Bluetooth. So they had to create variations for the Bluetooth, because the one that everybody had, I don't know if you guys remember the little wiggly Bluetooth. It'd be on your ear just hanging off, and that joint be dangling. You be doing stuff, it'll fall. So there's a problem. Even though you create a solution, it's a problem. So you got to create a better solution for that problem, right? And so for everything that's created, you're going to have 10 more problems that's created with your solution. So that means there's an infinite amount of things, problems that you can solve in your area of influence. You just got to be creative. You got to look for them and figure out ways that you can solve those problems. And what I've done with my website is I found holes in the marketplace as a musician and found like problems that are created because people are becoming better musicians. Well, that's creating problems for somebody. Somebody need to figure out how to do this. All right, well, that creates another problem. So I'm figuring out ways to solve those problems that are being created. And not only that, and have I went through and created the stuff, I've learned from my mistakes. And what I'm teaching in my coaching course, my Music and Money Coaching that I posted there in the chat, I'm teaching how to do this, how to monetize your idea. I had a friend of mine I was talking to just on yesterday. He was like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. But I feel like I'm overthinking and I'm second guessing this, that, and the other. He's in the program. I like, have you watched the videos? It's like, have you watched the videos? Because I'm going to walk you through and show you how to do this stuff. I understand the value of it. I understand the value of this information and what it's cost me over the years to get this stuff, and what I've done with the course that I've created along with the coaching. I concentrated this stuff. So instead of trying to, you spend all this time trying to search YouTube and figure out how to do this, or trying to search Google and getting 50 pages of information of how to do this, and you don't know which one to do. So I've concentrated it, and I'm like, I've gave you a 7-step system, and we're going to do coaching calls to show you how to implement this in what you're doing. Like how to make it work with your business model, whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever it is you're trying to get off the ground. Maybe that's not lessons. Maybe it doesn't even look like that. And it don't have to. That's the point that I'm making. It don't have to look like mine, but you do have a thing. And now is the time to get your thing off the ground, because you keep sitting on the sidelines. Say, for instance, that when I started this off with, I said, I heard news of somebody having a stroke. I'm like, that means if you're a musician and you have a stroke, most times some people don't come back from those strokes. It's like it jacks up one side of their body, so they're unable to do what they were able to do before. And so, like, whatever you were planning on doing before you had that stroke, it's a wrap. It's done. And here's the thing. Nobody's going to come and put a letter in the mail telling you you're going to have a stroke 2 months or 2 years or 2 weeks from now. Nobody's going to tell you that. So while you're sitting and waiting for the right time to move, well, I got to get my money together. All right, keep waiting. Something happened with your house, with your septic tank today. I say that because my septic been acting weird. Something happens at your house, any problem out of the ordinary, you're going to have to drop the money and figure out how to fix it. So when it comes to your life, why wouldn't you figure out now, drop the money now, figure out how to do something that's going to make that money make money for you? Because if something breaks at your house, that ain't going to make no money for you. You just got to drop money, and that ain't going to make no more money. At least what I'm talking to you about has the potential to make you several thousands of dollars. If not, I mean, you can scale it to your heart's desire, because I'm finding even in what I've been doing, started with the bass lessons, and then it turned into something else, and then it turned into something else, then it turned into something else. And the more I learn, the more I'm able to grow it. I'm like, man, I didn't even know when I started this. I thought I was going to release this little course and I was going to be like, that was going to be it. I had no idea, because you don't know what's on the other side of success. You don't know. If you haven't seen it before, you can't predict what's on the other side. So if you just keep sitting there watching everybody else win and be successful, meanwhile, you're waiting on somebody to give you the pink slip. Now you got to figure it out and start all the way back over. Hey, but if it works for you, I ain't trying to pressure you. I'm just letting you know I have an option available. If you're finally ready to pull the trigger and you're finally ready to do something with yourself, because you understand that you don't got that much time, I'm here to help. And I'll park it there. Sean, this is a good word, Jermaine. Bless you for the gospel tracks. I've had several strokes, and by the grace of God, I've recovered from them. Man, praise God, man. Sean, that's not everybody's story, though, man. You're a blessing. You're a miracle, because that's not everybody's story. That's not everybody's story. And I hope that's not any of you all's story. And I'm not trying to speak that on anybody, which I can't speak that on any of you. But I am trying to make you aware that you don't get to determine how things are going to end for you, or you don't get to determine, I'm going to say how, you don't get to determine when things are going to end, when things are going to stop, but you can determine what you do about it in terms of how you navigate the time you've been given, how you navigate the skills, the giftings, the opportunities that you've been given. You are in complete control of that. Can't nobody else do that for you. And that's what I decided to do with my life, to take full control, take full responsibility. If this thing don't work, if it don't get off the ground, it's my fault, because I didn't do the necessary stuff, or I didn't stay the course long enough to see it through. I'm happy to announce that JermaineMorgan.net is a success, because I stayed with it against all odds, and it's been hard, but I've stayed with it, and I'm happy to announce that it's a success. Yeah, you might only see like 50,000 subscribers. Man, praise God. This thing, I'm grateful. I'll leave it at that. I'm grateful. I said I was going to stop, so I'm going to stop. But all right, so I appreciate you guys again. Let me see a few more of these comments before I jump off of here. Keys says, be yourself. Keys, the shooter says, be yourself at all times. And if you don't smoke or drink, stay in that lane and it'll be respected. Being a working musician, being in different camps brings different vibes. Be yourself no matter what. Yeah. And to what you're saying, Keys, I know that's not your name, but I'm just referring to what you're saying. A big key ingredient to being yourself, you got to know who you are. And you don't discover who you are by believing what you've been given, by believing what your family has told you who you are, believing what society has told you who you are, believing what even your race has suggested to you who you are. Revelation of who you are comes only through God. I said what I said. Revelation of who you truly are only comes through God. Eve was deceived in the garden because a serpent was able to convince her of who she wanted to be. Because you could be like God if you do it. Like, you are already like God, but you allowed the outside voice to tell you something that only the inside voice, the Holy Spirit, can reveal to you. Like, that's the only thing that can reveal to you who you truly are. But when you listen to something outside of that, it's going to only send you down a road of confusion. And you're going to spend half your life trying to figure out who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. But when you get in close proximity to God's word consistently, that's the only thing that's going to truly reveal. Now, you'll do a lot of great stuff, not maximizing your full potential. Some people do really, really well in life, but measuring it against who they were supposed to be, how well did you really do? I'm going to stop there because I know I made somebody mad with that. But anyway, I thank you guys for hanging with me. I'm over time. If you found this video helpful, please share it with somebody. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell notification so you know when I go live and you know when I drop videos. I've been dropping a lot of videos lately. So if you're not subscribed, you don't have that bell notification turned on, you're missing a lot of content that I'm dropping for you. So I will see you guys on the next live, God willing. But anyway, thank you all for hanging out with me today, and it's been a pleasure to share with you, and I hope this has been helpful. All right, much love. Peace.